Alright guys, our silent album robs Spotify of $20,000. Let's check it out.
In 2014, a small independent band named Wolfpack wanted to go on tour,
Wolfpack.
but didn't have enough money.
Oh, with a V. what country pronounces wolf like with the V? I forget which one, bro. Maybe Russia. I don't know, guys. Alright, let's keep playing it.
But by using a simple trick on Spotify, they managed to land themselves with $20,000 and threatened Spotify's entire business model.
What? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's a lot of money, but not that much to Spotify. But I'm sure they are gonna not like that, and they're gonna fix it, obviously.
Wolfpack are an indie
I mean, if they keep finessing, bro, it's gonna be like a bigger court case against them, guys. It'll be like embezzlement. I don't know how they do it. How they do it, guys? First, I'm talking before the video. They even explained, because I don't know nothing about the case.
Band from Ann Arbor, Michigan, and are relatively well known today. But back in 2014, they had a very modest following and had only roughly 1,600 followers on Twitter. They had a cult following, though.
I don't even have 1,600 followers on Twitter, man. I've been stuck at 400 followers for like 3 years. I'm trying to tweet more, guys. I tweeted yesterday. Okay, actually, yeah, I tweeted yesterday.
And, like many up-and-coming artists, were struggling to find ways to keep everything going in terms of cash flow and earnings. Jack Stratton, the leader of Wolfpack, randomly came across an interview with the music producer Ron Fair, which sparked a light bulb moment. Stratton told Rolling Stone magazine, Fair produced Lady Marmalade and said it was only available on the soundtrack in stores. So people had to buy this $18 soundtrack to get this hit single. He goes, that was a big win. I was like, wow, he's definitely working with the format in place.
$18. Man, there is no more CD freaking section in stores, guys, is there? I haven't been to stores in like a year.
What does that look like now? And we started thinking about that. Ron Fair had found a way to use a clever trick to make more money off music. But when Wolfpack were starting out in the early 2010s, the musical landscape looked very different.
Streaming services galore. At that point, everybody's gonna be using Spotify soon, guys. Which is an app I don't even personally use.
Fewer people buying physical copies of music, Bandcamp was and is an important platform.
Do you guys use Bandcamp? Do you guys use Spotify? Let me know in the comments below. You can pay artists using Bandcamp. Interesting.
For independent artists. On this platform, you could buy a digital copy of the album, and 80% of the money goes directly to the artist or label.
Not bad.
Wolfpack found that roughly 1,000 people had bought their album on Bandcamp and provided them with an important revenue stream. But as an independent band, they found it difficult to tour. Without the financial backing of a label, tours had to be funded by themselves, and there were no guarantees that they would make their money back.
Dang, bro. A tour, bro? You gotta be a decent sized band to even consider a tour, bro. See cleaner notification, let's dismiss that.
They needed was money up front to fund a tour, and they decided that they could finance this tour by gaming music streaming services, in particular, Spotify. According to Stratton, we knew we wanted to tour, because every day we get a request on our Facebook or Twitter to come to some town. And we had even been—
As I'm sure every band gets those kind of things, kinds of questions, bro. Every single band up in there.
talking about a concept where people say, we're going to come to these cities, and if people buy enough tickets, we'll show up. So then simultaneously I was thinking, what is a Spotify exclusive album? What does that look like? So those two ideas converged. I posted the plan on Facebook and sent it to the band's email list, and it just spread naturally from there. We were kind of operating on the 1,000 fan hypothesis by Kevin Kelly, which you should check out, that this could definitely work if thousands of our fans do this and have Spotify. The plan was simple. They released a new album. The first song was called Z and consisted of just over 30 seconds of silence. The second track was called ZZ, which similarly consisted of over 30 seconds of silence.
What?
The whole album was nothing but complete and utter silence. It was an album that fans
Spotify had no checks to deter somebody from releasing silence on their Spotify, guys. Like no sort of AI bot that detected, guys.
were encouraged to play on a loop while they went to sleep, and it was called Sleepify. If they did this, they could go on tour, and what's more, they could provide free admission for their fans. In the promo video for the album, Stratton says, "Here's how it works. Wolfpack released Sleepify the album last week on Spotify. This album is different than our previous albums. This album is much quieter. In fact,
It's 100%. You believe it's the most silent album recorded? How do you even put the, like, how many bytes would it be? Like, how many megabytes would it be? Would it be 0 megabytes? A 0 megabyte song. Like, how do you record silence? I don't understand 100%.
In fact, we believe it's the most silent album ever recorded." A report from The Guardian did the math and said, so if a fan slept for 7 hours and streamed the album for the whole time, they'd play 840 tracks, generating $5.88 for Wolfpack. If you can convince 100 fans to do the same, that works out at $588 per night royalties.
Dang, bro, so they found a way to finesse without actually making content, bro. I mean, they could have released a new album, but they, and, you know, got a bunch of streams and got the ad revenue from that, but they're like this? Oh my goodness.
And that's assuming each listener only has one playable device and only streams through the night. If they let it play all through the day, Wolfpack's earnings could be more than tripled. You could, with willing fans, make a load of money from this scheme. 2 other tricks were used to make them more money. The reason why they got their fans to stream this album and not just their other albums on silent is because artists have tried this before, and Spotify recognizes when someone is doing this. But with Sleepify, you could play the album on full volume and still go to sleep. The songs also had to be just over 30 seconds long,
Well done, well done.
which is enough time for Spotify to consider the song to have been properly streamed and pay the artist. Sleepify was, at first, an incredibly popular album. Stratton says, it's roughly 100,000 per track listens, so 1 million total, which is a big
Oh yeah, definitely 1 million's a big number, man. I think we crossed like 1 million views per month. Guys, we're actually at like 1 million views per month across all platforms. So shout out everybody, guys, because we're just getting started, man. 1 million. Thank you for 1 million views per month.
big number. All these services pay about 2 months after the sale, so we'll know then, based on the rough calculations over 1 million streams, if it was half a cent, that would be $5,000. The band then acted as if this was a real album. They tweeted, "Please don't shuffle Sleepify. I know this might come off snobbish, but we spent a lot of time on..."
Okay, this is gonna be a major dub if they actually go and perform Sleepify while not saying anything, bro. That's what it basically is. It's not even an album.
on track order. Spotify was put in a difficult situation, and their first reaction was to play it cool. Wolfpack initially received an email from Spotify ambiguously asking if they needed help with anything. Then Spotify even saw the funny side. Spotify spokesperson Graham James said, "This is a clever stunt, but we prefer Wolfpack's earlier albums. Sleepify seems derivative of John Cage's work." However, James may have shot himself in the foot with this comment. John Cage was an experimental composer who released a song in 1952 called 433, which was 4 minutes and 33 seconds of complete silence. The song was, and continues to be, on Spotify's streaming services. With this in mind, it was difficult for Spotify.
How many monthly listeners is there for that song, guys? If Spotify has that song, they're gonna have like every song.
To argue that these weren't real songs because there was no noise. The rock band Sonic Youth also released a song called Silence in 1995, which, as the name suggests, consisted of complete silence and is available on streaming platforms. The Sleepify album presented bad news for Spotify. Wolfpack, a small funk band from Michigan, were now making headlines everywhere. Their story highlighted how difficult it was for musicians to make money and the problems with
Yo, they got on Colbert, bro. Sometimes you just gotta be different to be successful, guys. Instead of talented, I guess. I don't know.
with their streaming service model. There was also the danger of copycats. Wolfpack were now featured on Billboard, and towards the end of the article, it read, "Should Wolfpack's brilliant stunt materialize into a completely free tour for..."
Spotify is definitely gonna come down on them, but I think Spotify partially wants to just see them success, because you know how there's tons of artists that just don't see the success they want to see. You know, a lot of them try for years and years, and if you do, I wish you success.
fans, it could change the way independent artists regard streaming services and fan engagement. Just stream your favorite band's music or non-music while you sleep, and they could come to your city for absolutely free. This might just be the easiest way to support artists ever. Ultimately, Spotify had to put their foot down. If they didn't act now, their whole platform could be covered in silent albums.
That's also
So a
true.
few weeks later, Spotify emailed Wolfpack and demanded that they take down the album. Wolfpack posted this on Facebook and said they apparently violated some of Spotify's terms. Vice magazine reported on this and could not get any response from Spotify as to what was happening. The article read, "We've tried numerous times to contact Spotify, but they've issued a no comment on every occasion, taking on the strategy of, let's not give this band any attention." But Wolfpack was less inclined to go quietly. They released an EP of 3 songs called Official Statement, which contained the first track called #Hurt, where they explained that they were being asked to take down the album. The
Dang, bro.
second track was Complete Silence, and the third track was just a random instrumental.
Guys, their most silent track has the most views. Look at that, guys. 218K.
And the third track was just a random instrumental. Stratton also did an interview with Vice. When asked why Spotify asked him to take
Hey, sometimes some of us don't like to listen to music all the time, and we like to listen to silence. Right, guys?
it down, he sarcastically
They're trying to trademark. I'm not trying to trademark, but they're trying to, you know, capitalize on me liking silence. Not 100% like that, but
said, "I think they panicked when they realized someone was actually making money from the music." He also said, "I haven't heard of any yet, but in the email asking us to take it down, they said they were receiving similar silent submissions."
they were.
But the question is whether they would make
They went to embracing it to hating it, man.
any money from Sleepify. At the time of the interview, Sleepify had now been streamed 3.72 million times, which should have generated $18,000 for the band. When asked if Spotify would pay up, Stratton's response was, "My guess is they will. Spotify pays 2 months after the listen, so we'll know in May sometime."
Please
And
pay
despite
them.
the album being banned from Spotify, Wolfpack were awarded $20,000 in earnings from the Sleepify album.
Ooh, let's go, man. Spotify, thank you for doing that dub, man. Shout out Spotify, man. You guys are the best.
They did free tours for fans in cities where the album was streamed the most, which were LA, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, and their hometown of Ann Arbor, Michigan.
And they lived up to it, man.
While Spotify looks like the bad guys in this particular story, there's a lot more to it than that.
Not 100%, bro. Shout out them. Shout out them for doing that, man. 20K.
Stratton admitted in one interview that he's actually a big fan of Spotify and streaming services, but only as a user. He said, "As a user of the service, I'm a fan. I make a joke in the Sleepify video about how Spotify will throw in the history of recorded music if you sign up for Sleepify. As a band, though, you have to be practicing yoga and eating grass-fed butter to face the coldness of the free market." Essentially, Spotify provides the artist or label with 70% of the earnings they
Grass-fed butter is a pretty bougie of a butter, man.
make, so they take a minority of the money earned and not much less than Bandcamp. That being said, Stratton pointed out that it's not so much the rate of payment, but their entire business model that's the problem. In one interview, Stratton
Oh, man. He's angry about it, bro.
said, "If Whole Foods came out with a $10 a month subscription
Yeah, getting banned sucks. Straight up.
to food, it would be a popular product as well." A year later, Jay-Z released Tidal, which offered a slightly higher rate per stream for musicians. He told the New York Times,
I didn't even know he released a freaking platform, man.
"The challenge is to get
The guy's a billionaire. Wouldn't lend out $4,800, but he releases a platform.
everyone to respect music again. to recognize its value. Water is free. Music is $6, but no one wants to pay for music. You should drink free water from the tap. It's a beautiful thing. And if you want to hear the most beautiful song, then support the artist. Taylor Swift, who had pulled her music from Spotify, gave a very simple thought process on why the Spotify model was problematic. She'd said, "Music is art, and art is important and rare. Important, rare things are valuable. Valuable things should be paid for. It's my opinion that music should not be free, and my prediction is that individual artists and their labels will someday decide what an album..."
Dang, bro. Taylor. You said music should not be free? Dang.
His price point is. I hope they don't underestimate themselves or undervalue their art. As we've seen since then, Taylor Swift and many others who had pulled their music have replaced their music and put it back up on streaming platforms. Good business move. This tactic of releasing silent music has not been repeated since, effectively at least, but others have used the sleep trick. In 2020, Justin Bieber released the song Yummy, and both he and his fans wanted to do whatever it took to make it a #1 hit. Justin Bieber, or a person who was running his socials, reposted something from a fan which said, quote, "Justin really wants that #1 and he's really excited about it, as he said yesterday in his live stream. If you don't want to do any of this, it's totally fine. Just ignore the post. This is tips for the people who actually want to do an extra effort." The plan was to create a playlist with the song Yummy on it, then play it constantly while you sleep. As I mentioned before, Spotify has fraud detection measures in place, so you cannot play it on mute. So they suggested playing it at a low volume instead. Added to this, the fan encouraged Bieber fans based outside of the US to use a VPN and set their location to the US when playing the tracks.
I can't find the word for somebody that's obsessed with Bieber. But when I do, I'll let you know.
But despite their best efforts, they only reached #2 on the Billboard charts.
Got beat out by Roddy Ricch. Maybe next time, bud.
To the #1 song, The Box by Roddy Ricch.
Dang, bro.
In 2023, the best way to support your favorite artists is not through tricks and gimmicks. It's through buying their music, attending live shows, or purchasing merchandise. Or, failing that, streaming their music or recommending them to your friends.
Alright, guys, that's a video. These videos are top tier. They are. Another video about selling them live. Somebody selling them live. Well, I wish them success. I wish you success. See you guys next video, guys. Yep.